Hi y'all, this is Katie Sunshine. So I wanted to do a tutorial on how to find your flow. Hoop dancers' flow is basically just their signature style that they have when they're hooping. It might be the certain tricks that you do, it might be the transitions you do in between tricks, but it's definitely what makes your hooping unique. And I do believe that every hooper comes by this naturally, eventually, after they've been hooping for a while. But I had a few things that helped me out along my journey, so I just wanted to share those with you today. So my first tip for finding your flow is learning to hoop on your hips. For example, if you can learn to take the hoop from your waist down to your hips, you'll find that you'll be wiggling your hips a little more like you would be when you're dancing. So this can be a tip you can use to start dancing with your hula hoop. So to get started hooping on your hips, if you're hooping on your waist, you want to slow your hoop down so that it falls down to your hips. Once your hoop reaches your hips, then you want to start thrusting forward and back with your pelvis. Now you can see in my hips I actually kind of do a little tiny bit of a circle movement with my hips, but the majority of the push comes from the forward and back movement of me pushing my pelvis forward and then sticking my booty out. To help keep the momentum of the hoop up when you're hooping on your hips, it also helps to turn in a circle the same direction the hoop is moving. As you're hooping, imagine that for every beat of the music, the hoop is making one full rotation around your body. So practice controlling the hoop so that you can control the speed. I actually have a separate tutorial on how to hoop on your knees that you can check out on my channel. But basically, once you learn how to push with your knee to keep the hoop going, you can turn that push into a little dance step. This tip is pretty self-explanatory, but I think it's an important one. I just encourage everybody when you're first learning, find some music that you really like, find some music that really makes you want to move, and then hoop and dance like nobody is watching. Just find out what you can do with that hoop, what you're comfortable with, and that's a really great way to find your own flow. My final tip for finding your flow is watching other hula hoopers whose signature style you really admire and just trying to mimic that. When I first started hooping, I watched a lot of videos of Christabel Zamore. She was one of my biggest inspirations, and Babs Robinson, the hoopers whose flow that I really thought was cool and I wanted to be like them. So I would watch their videos and I would try to pay attention to what their hands were doing, what their feet were doing, what their legs were doing, what their hips were doing, what their face was doing, everything. And then I would try to mimic that. Now you're not going to be able to copy it exactly, but in doing that you kind of find what's comfortable for you, and so you eventually develop your own style. It might be similar, but it has your own natural movements in it.